We're back, y'all.
Hey, how everybody doing? God, we missed you guys. How long were we gone for? Like a month?
Just a
It
week.
seemed like a month.
Just a week.
It seemed like a month. I swear. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we did miss you. We did miss you. We hope everyone had a happy holiday. We celebrated Friendsgiving here.
Friendsgiving. We celebrated our young sister's birthday the other day, T.
Yep.
Tadasi.
And last week, our one of our kids,
Oh
Aman,
yeah, Aman.
birthday, and his dad. So yeah, we've had a week of celebrations, and it has been terrific. So but we've got some stuff to talk about today. We've got some stuff to talk about. So I want to ask you, Rick, what was your biggest surprise? Because we've been retired now for 1 year and about 9 months. What was your biggest surprise?
I don't know if really had any big surprises because we've always done things where we always had our own time. We weren't always punching somebody else's time clock.
Yeah.
So, we would do projects and stuff in between different gigs. And so we kind of had mini retirement type stuff, you know. Mike, there you go.
Okay. Y'all can hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us? Because it kind of dodged out and said that our mic, it muted our mic. So we want to make sure that we're back on.
Yeah. So let us know that you can hear us and everything's cool. I don't know.
Okay. How about now?
Okay. Okay. Volume is back. Okay. Thank you, Cassandra. So that means you didn't miss our intro. So even though we've had periods of time, we've had so-called test drives on retirement in that we were in control of our time. We did not have to go punch a clock. But the difference is we did not have financial freedom. And so there was still that like pressure to make coins.
It was still a pressure, but then again, we didn't think that we would be able to retire either. So
true.
True. At one point, it's like, what do you think about when you're going to retire? Fishing, hanging out with my best buddy Ron, and just fishing and doing this. But you only do so much every day.
Yeah.
So much fishing, so much hanging out, so much going to the park, so much feeding the pigeons.
The pigeons?
There's a whole lot more to life.
Yes, definitely. So we're going to talk about why, especially for our audience that are all on their way and on their journey to financial freedom, right? Y'all will be able to retire. That's why we're here, right? Y'all will be able to retire, whereas we did not figure this stuff out until about 4 years ago, right? So we're going to talk about what a test drive on your retirement should look like, why it's important, and how you can do it effectively so that you get out of it what you need to get out of it. Yeah. All right?
Yeah.
I guess we should introduce ourselves.
Maybe you think they might have forgot us after a week.
Just in case you forgot who we are. Hey, y'all. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome back to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money. We talk about travel and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth, right? But first, if you are new to our channel, then you may not know. First of all, Rick and our goal is to help Black folks leave the United States and become financially free. Not necessarily in that order. If you are of a certain age, and of a certain age, I mean 40 plus, and you are not planning for retirement, you have not been saving like you need to be, you need to check us out and make sure that you enroll in our course or at least get our Ready to Retire Toolkit so that you can start getting your financial act together. Because about 8 years ago, Rick and I got a wake-up call.
Yeah.
We met with a financial advisor who gave us some very depressing news.
That we paid to tell us this very depressing news.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And we left there. Well, he was really depressed. I was overly optimistic, which is not, either one is not a good thing.
Hell, I paid for it.
Either one is not a very good thing.
I paid for the depression.
Yeah,
I
you
needed
did.
to be depressed.
But about 3.5, 4 years ago, we did get our financial act together, and we went from negative 22,000 in net worth to over 1.1 million in net worth as of today. And if we can do it,
y'all can do it.
You can do it too.
Do this.
Because we never made more than 6 figures ever individually. So we've got questions coming in. Y'all know the routine. If you have a question, we are going to handle the questions that are on topic first. And then we will get to the others. Holidays are coming up.
Yeah, they are.
We sent out an email. If you want to gift someone with our financial freedom course, Beyond the Bling, now is the time to do it before the prices go up. If you want to book a one-on-one call with us, now is the time to do it before the prices go up. Even if you have to book you'll have to book for January because we're filled up for December. So now is the time to do it. If you want to get the replays for the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, y'all, any of you who are listening to Rashida today, you can understand the urgency in getting out sooner than later. Come up with a plan that you can get out sooner than later. And if Portugal's on your list, the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit replays are available, and they're a little bit less than the last all access pass because you don't have the opportunity to do this stuff live. All right.
And it's awesome.
It was awesome. If you went to the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, y'all, and you're in the audience, let us know what you thought. Let the other folks know what you thought and why you think it was valuable. If you're watching from the future, hey, say hello down in the comments. And also let us know if you went to the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. So let's get started. How you should structure your mini retirement or your dress rehearsal for retirement. This is going to give you a really quick and dirty idea of whether or not you have planned effectively and if you have a realistic view about what your retirement is supposed to look like, right? So a trial retirement, often referred to as a pre-retirement or practice retirement, can be beneficial. A beneficial strategy. So we're going to create some rules of the road because sometimes when we plan these things, we're really thinking of things that are probably not appropriate for a trial retirement.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So the first one.
Create a budget and stick to it.
Stick to it. It's really easy to cheat when you know you're going to be going back to work in 6 months. Right. And so you dig into your savings a little bit, but that's not going to give you a realistic view if the amount of money that you think you can live on, if you can actually do that. So if you are planning to retire in another country, so stay in the retirement location that you're planning to live in. And this may be easier for some than others, but this is really, really important, y'all. So if you plan to retire in Mexico, if you plan to retire in Portugal, or wherever you plan to retire, and you take your 3 months, 6 months, a year, and stay in that country. Because if you're planning to live on, let's just say $2,500 a month, it's going to be virtually impossible to stay home and do that unless your house is paid off.
Yes.
Right? If your house is not paid off, if you have a lease, is there an opportunity for you to sublet or rent out your house while you are gone so that you don't have to at least pay bills in 2 places? So that's something that you should think about. But it's really important to stay in the retirement location and where you might retire. This will also give you a good idea if you are fantasizing and thinking that your location is going to be the panacea. And then after being there for 3 months, because you've been there on vacation, right? But then after being there for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, it's like, this ain't all it's panned out to be. Or you're always there in good weather. Now you're there in bad weather and you're sweltering or you're freezing or whatever, Right. People said to come to Portugal in the winter.
Yeah, you always come at the worst weather of the year.
Or what you consider
worst weather in the year. I mean, coming from Denver, everybody said, well, come at this time because it's cold, it's colder, it's rainier, it's wet. So we experienced that. Which still, I mean, today was one of those, we ain't doing nothing that day.
It was cold.
Get ready for tonight. And it was cold, so we just stayed. Ain't gonna lie, we stayed in the bed all day on our computers, watching movies, taking naps, and getting this stuff together. So because we knew we had a show tonight, but it was just an easygoing day. It was a relaxing day.
Yes, which Sundays usually aren't for most people.
Sundays usually aren't, no,
Right?
because you're stressing about Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there.
Yeah, we've both been there. Oh my God, my stomach I used to either start getting butterflies or I'd get nauseous or it would just hurt.
And you know me, I'd be on the phone talking to them. Okay, are we good for blah, blah, blah? We need to set this up. And quiet as kept, I get in my car and go to where I needed to go to make sure everything was done right.
He would do that sometimes at 11 o'clock at night, go drive to the job and make sure that everything was set for first thing in the morning.
Yes.
We don't have to do that anymore. And when you're doing your mini retirement, you need to totally unplug, right? So no texts from the office, none of that stuff, because otherwise there's part of it is psychological. You cannot figure out what you enjoy if you're still stressed out about what's going on at the job, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the biggest thing. You just want to be able to totally unplug.
And so the next thing would be do not treat this or look at this as a prolonged vacation.
Right.
Because retirement and vacation are two different things. They do not work the same.
No, they don't. Because on vacation, every other day or sometimes every day, if that's how you travel, you've got tours and you're going to go see this and the wine tour and the walking tour and the food tour.
You're catered to too also in vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not what life is all about. And so even if in retirement, unless you're going to be a digital nomad, in or a nomadic in your retirement, not digital nomad, but nomadic in your retirement, you probably, and if you're only taking a 3-month trial retirement, I would suggest you don't travel. If it's 6, 9, 12 months, then how much travel do you plan to do per year? That should be in your budget. And so if it's 3 times a year, then plan that accordingly. For 6 months, that would be maybe 1 trip and a weekend or something like that. But by and large, this is not a vacation. If you plan to live with no car, then don't have a car. Don't rent a car.
Yeah.
Don't rent a car. See if, we also, I want to live in a walkable city. Really? Let me tell you about Thanksgiving, y'all.
Tell them.
Let me tell you about Thanksgiving. Here in Europe, in Portugal, and we just met this German lady who was living in America now. Her and her husband are going to probably move back to Europe or to Europe because he's American. This is a thing in Germany, and it's definitely a thing in Portugal, and it was a thing in Spain. You cannot find everything you need in one store. Especially if you're trying to replicate your American dishes.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So I was making my grandmama's cornbread dressing, and the way I make it, not with those giblets there. And so, poultry seasoning, that's not a thing here. That is not a thing. So I had to look up the ingredients of what was in poultry seasoning and then figure out the translation and go to all of these different stores, including the Asian stores and everything else, to find sage and all of the rest of the stuff that is in poultry seasoning. Yeah. So I literally, just to make cornbread dressing, well, I make chicken Maxine, but the base is cornbread dressing. I had to go to about 5 different grocery stores, walking up and down these hills in Lisbon with groceries. So if you plan not to have a car, don't have a car when you do your trial retirement. If you plan to have 1 car and you plan to stay in the States, take 1 car, park it in the garage, take it off of the insurance that allows it to be street okay. So you only have the stolen, if it gets stolen, right? Or if there's something happens in the garage, like a fire or something, but it's garaged. And just live with that 1 car, because we have these preconceived notions of how our retirement is going to work. And yet we're not really certain if it's doable for your personality or for our personality, right? So so those are the rules of the road. You want to create a budget, you want to stay in the location, and this is not a vacation. You don't want it to look like a prolonged vacation where every day you're just doing touristy stuff and things like that.
Because touristy stuff gets old and it gets
it's expensive, right? And so you know, that's just not what retirement necessarily looks like, unless you're just going to literally be traveling all the time during retirement. So those are the rules of the road. Those are the things to keep in mind so that you structure your retirement well, your pre-retirement, your trial. All right, let's see who is in the chat and say hello. Hopefully y'all have hit the like button. I'm just going to start with our buddy, Action VJ.
Action VJ.
We got over 150 people watching, so I hope we have 150 responses. If you don't like this content, hit the down button. Hit the down button. I loved what Rashida said today. She's like, let the YouTube algorithm know what you want to see. So first one in the house was Cassandra.
Hey, Cassandra.
Good to see you. Hey, Stephen, I'm here for it. Yes. Hey, Jess, good to see you. And Lisa is back. I think you've been gone for a couple of weeks, or maybe we've been gone for a couple of weeks, and that's what it is. Yeah. Hey, the ABX girl. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if it's if you're trying to make a word with that. Hey, Helen. Hola, everyone. Hola. Hey, Winnie, and we've got Mel and T are in the house.
Happy birthday again, baby girl.
Yeah,
we love you.
Yeah, it was really
had
fun.
A fantastic time.
Yeah, but how Alex and Jerry were able to do 3 nights, three late nights, and then they went Saturday and had another outing.
They're good. They pros.
Yeah.
They're professional. Yeah. I told Alex the other night, I said, y'all professional.
Right? Because I couldn't do it. There's just no way. There is just no way I could do that. So, hey, Kimmy, good to see you. Pinky, it's good to see you. Vanessa's in the house.
Hey, Vanessa.
Anya, not soon enough.
Not soon.
I know. I feel you. Hey, Amber, good to see you. Mary is in the house. We got Tanya, Helen, Greta.
Hey, Greta.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Killer Queen and High Vibe. Auntie Trey is in the house. Vanessa, we've got Vanessa and Dee. We are so happy y'all are here. And you came back, even though we were gone for Thanksgiving week. So there we do have, it's funny because I was talking to someone from Colorado earlier today. They are here and looking, hey, Vicky and Regina. Mike, I also saw Mike, which I hadn't seen in a long time, Mike Just. So good to see you. Professor's in the house, Gregory, Victoria, Frederica. We've got some folks from our old life are in the house. Boa noite. I'm glad you can hear us. So Venus is in the house. I didn't go down far enough. I started seeing repeats, right?
Yeah.
I'm putting some stars next to the ones that have Q's in front of them, and we will get to them momentarily. Okay. I'm a graduate. I love that. Of the inaugural Move to Portugal Summit. It is an essential course to plan your move and get your life straight and keep it straight as you do. It's a success recipe, right? I mean,
thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you so much. We had folks, we had visa people, we had immigration attorneys, we had tax folks, we had remote job, we had Libria in the house. We had Black folks from all over the country who are English speaking to tell you what it's like living here, not just in Lisbon, but all the way from Porto to the Algarve and everything in between, y'all. So
Antonio's there.
Antonio, good to see you out. Yes. Thank you so much. Starmark. That seems like a new name. Hi from Palm Beach. I'm sorry you're in Florida, but Palm Beach is beautiful. It really is. They're just a little cray-cray in Florida. We're glad you're here, and we hope that you want to get out. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
We appreciate it.
Yakota strong.
Yes, Jazzy Old Chick is in the house. Yakota is in the house. So, all right. We are going to get back to it. We love you, fam. We love you, our utopian family.
Oh, yeah.
We are so happy that you're here. I'm just going to put, if you want to gift beyond the bling, if you want to gift beyond the bling to a family member, to one of your kids or something like that. Okay, that's weird. Opens in a new tab. That is so weird. I'm putting it in the chat right now, and you can just click on that. But make sure it opens in a new tab so that you don't miss a thing. Okay. So why is it so important to do a trial run?
I mean, it's just a lot of things that you have on your plate. A lot of things goes on: retirement, lifestyle changes.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
and because people's identities sometimes are so
they're wrapped up in their
entwined.
work.
And when you ask people about themselves, they either say I do or I am, right? Oh, I am a marketing exec. No, you are a human being. But in America, you are your job. And that's the sad reality. And some people's, like even my dad's ego, was so entwined in what he did for a living that even with dementia, he is still working.
He lives it.
He lives it every single day. Every single day he is on the set. He is directing the crew. He's wondering where craft services is, what the crew has to do and make sure that they should, because he did a lot of stuff on location. In other words, not in the studio, but out in the field as a television producer. And he is still managing all of that.
Yeah.
Even when I asked him about Thanksgiving, he framed it in terms of a crew. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. And I don't think that it has to be that way. We have to disassociate ourselves with what we do to make money to live. So one of the things that is so stressful for people about retiring is uncertainty.
Right. So we want them to kind of experience the different changes and make changes to what they're looking for, what they want in their retirement, to get away from the job.
To
get away from the old way of thinking into a new way of thinking, because it is a new way of thinking.
It definitely is. And if you are feeling nervous about retiring because of the uncertainties, the best way to eliminate that is to do a trial, to do a dress rehearsal. And then you can see if all of the things that you were worried about, is this enough money? Will I be bored? What am I going to do every day? Et cetera, et cetera. All of those things that you were uncertain about, you can try them out. You can try them out without having to worry about this being a forever thing.
And I mean, I've talked to few people, very few, that said, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I went back to work. And It's like, why? Yeah. There's a whole lot to do with yourself. There's a whole lot out here.
That's a sad commentary.
Yeah.
That's a really sad
commentary. That was their thing. And it's like, why did you leave in the first place?
Exactly. My grandfather was like that. He retired, and it wasn't about the money at that point. He was bored. So he went back to work part-time, doing something totally different, a lot easier, a lot less stress, but still, like, there's nothing better to do in life but to show up at somebody's job. Really?
Because we don't know what to do with ourselves.
Because we don't know what to do with ourselves. But getting away from the stress of a job and giving yourself an opportunity to see what brings you joy is so important. So doing a trial reduces stress. It reduces stress for the final retirement. Number 2.
Fear, boredom,
or inactivity.
Inactivity.
That's the thing that most people think about. And it's funny because people say to us, you ain't retired. Y'all ain't retired. Action VJ said, y'all the most
retired people I know.
But I can't imagine not doing nothing, but I can't imagine. I mean, there's only so many museums. There's only so many wine tours. There's only
life isn't about doing nothing. Doing nothing means you die. That's doing nothing.
Yeah.
So life is always about doing something. There's always something to do. There's always people to meet. There's always places to go.
Yep.
There's always ways to entertain you. So doing nothing, I could never get up and say, I just don't know what to do with myself. I don't know where to go. I don't know who I'm going to talk to or how. That's the you thing. And you need to get past it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Stephanie says if you're bored, you're probably a boring person. Ouch.
But you don't have to be.
You don't have to be. I am a naturally curious person. I really could sit there and Google things all day long. Oh, I wonder about this. Oh, I wonder about that. Oh, didn't somebody tell me about that book? Let me look that up. And so so there's that. But the prospect of having more free time in retirement can make people anxious, especially those who are control freaks, I think, because everything has got to be just so. But this is an opportunity for you to find what brings you joy and what brings you meaningfulness in your life without clocking on somebody else's job, right? Controlling your own time, what really, really brings you joy. And and I keep bringing up Stephanie because she is so wise. She really is so wise. And she said, you really don't know what you really like until you have the free time to really explore it. So that brings us to number 3.
I don't have any mark.
Spend your time now figuring out what you enjoy doing. So this is your opportunity to try all of those things. So I've got some things on my list. I want to learn how to crochet lace. I don't know why, y'all. I used to know how to crochet when I was younger, and I used to make Afghans, like blankets. Always with these ugly colors like neon orange and neon green. I don't know why, but doing lace with that little thin yarn, right? I've always wanted to learn how to do that, and I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to go. Portugal has a lot of craft stores. One of the things about Southern Europe, and especially about Portugal, is like there's not a lot of processed food. It's hard to find quick food. I made vegetable soup yesterday or the other day from scratch, and everything had to be chopped, finding like chopped up onions and things like that in the frozen food section. You can find them some places, but they're not everywhere. So everything has to be from scratch. My cornbread dressing, the cornbread, everything had to be from Jiffy. That's not a thing. But I say that to say that it appears to me that here people spend the time to do things like our grandmothers used to. So there's a lot of fabric stores which have started to disappear in the United States. There's a lot of craft stores dedicated to just knitting and crocheting, which I never saw in the United States. Well, I used to see them when I was really little, but now that stuff are in fabric stores, and the only fabric stores that I know of is Joann's in Colorado and California. I don't even know if any other chains exist. Do people still know how to sew besides, a few of us? Right. And so I also want to do ballroom dancing. He's been saying no.
I haven't been saying no. I never said no.
We gonna learn to tango, y'all.
I know how to tango.
I don't. And he doesn't. Because otherwise he would have taught me. See, no, your frame is not right. Your frame is not right. He don't know how to tango.
I know how to tango.
I want to learn how to tango. We're going to record it and we're going to put it out as a short.
Ghetto tango.
So,
you got to move a little bit like that.
But this is really important. Now that it's been a while and I feel like, we're getting the rhythm of YouTube and things like that. And I find myself having a little bit more free time as far as, my parents are still taking up my time. So this is something you may or may not have to deal with. If you do, this is a perfect opportunity to see if you can manage your parents' responsibilities, whatever responsibilities you've taken on for them from wherever you are, right? Without having to be there. And so for those of you, y'all have heard the stories. my mom's checking account, she has gotten thousands stolen from her over the past few months. And I have been on the phone with Wells Fargo. We have since moved her account to an undisclosed location because she cannot handle having that information and not giving it out over the phone.
She gives it out.
So, being on the phone to the States, for hours on hold with Wells Fargo and with this and that and the other, this is all part of retiring abroad, especially, or retiring to a location that is not where your parents are or your in-laws are. So now's the time to spend time figuring out what you enjoy and what brings you happiness.
Yeah.
What brings you happiness? So I am really looking forward to crocheting and to taking dance lessons.
Yeah. Which also segues into, then you can find out who your new playmates are going to be.
Yeah. So tell them about that. Because how many playmates did you have in Colorado?
We were talking about this earlier, and I have my best buddy is in Colorado, and he came out to visit me, and his name is Ron Watkins.
He was actually featured in the video that we released last Sunday about the best beach towns to retire outside of the Lisbon area. So if you haven't watched that and Portugal is on your list, definitely watch that, because those 3 towns that we showed, you can live there near the beach for less than you can live in Lisbon proper.
And it was sad because he was actually my only friend. He was my only friend that I hung out with. He was my buddy.
And he was retired.
And he was retired.
And still retired.
And, other than him, I was always working or whatever. So any other affiliations of people were people that worked for me or with me. I hate to say they worked for me. They worked with me on my team. And I didn't have a lot. Now, oh my God, I got new family members. It's like, Lord have mercy. Every day of the week can be filled.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. If we wanted to.
If we wanted to.
Because let me tell you. So Mike is coming to Lisbon next week. I'm glad you will enjoy. Yeah, you will enjoy it. It was cold today, but the other few days it's been mild. Today was like 43, which if you're in Chicago or someplace like that, that's not cold. Yeah. And I still didn't have a hat on. So, I didn't put like a beanie cap on or anything else. So you'll be fine. But yeah, playmates. And so I had friends from, I was running this nonprofit organization for free. So that was my volunteer work. I had friends from there or acquaintances from work. And one person who was my friend that had no association for my activities. And she is the only one that I still talk to on a regular basis, besides my childhood friends, which are all in California. So, but now,
yeah, your world kind of opens up.
Now, I mean, we've got a crew that I call them 2 crews. So we've got the crew that Christina and Aman have congregated, and that's a whole crew of folks who are immigrants to Portugal, English-speaking Black folks for the most part, who are now in Portugal. They're mostly younger. And then there's me, Rick, Alex, and Jerry. And then we have the crew that's 45 plus. I'm gonna put it that way. And we hang tough too. And we loud, rowdy, and out of control. And we'll close down the house in some places, right? And we hang tough and we have fun and we celebrate each other's wins and birthdays and everything, and just fellowshipping, checking in on each other. It is amazing how much easier it has been to make friends here than it ever was in the States.
You got time.
So one of it is time, right? One of the things is time. And so if you are planning your mini retirement out of the country, make sure that you are in those Facebook groups and then ask them, are there ancillary WhatsApp groups? So here we have there's lots of WhatsApp groups, but there's like 3 that I am a part of, and I think Rick has like 4 because there's a men's one that he's a part of that obviously I'm not. And not only does that help you in finding where to go to do this, that, and the other, but it also is instant friends. And so all you have to say is, I'm here. What is there fun to do? Who's hanging out at the jazz club or whatever? I would love to go. And somebody is going to respond.
Yeah. Somebody will respond to you and let you know what's going on or where you can go. Not everyone can always respond. I know a lot of people come because I look at the different groups, and a lot of people come, hey, we're in town and we just like to hang out with somebody. Everybody can't do that because we have lives. But, for the majority, for the most part, we try to always accommodate and meet with people and
Well, I think the thing is that you got to let people know in advance. Don't go on there talking about I'm here.
I'm here,
and think that people are going to rearrange their schedules. Nice. But if a month in advance you say, I'm coming during these dates and I would love to do things. Is there anything planned? And you can start making play dates before you get there. For folks, folks wherever you're going may have a side hustle. They may not be retired. They may be working remotely, right? So some of our friends still work remotely. Some of our friends have their own businesses, like with employees, not a side hustle where it's just like me and Rick and we on YouTube, we're helping people and we're coaching and we're having fun, right? No, businesses where they're filing the paperwork and doing all of that stuff, right? And they've got employees depending on them. Right. So we've got folks who are doing that. We've got folks working remotely. And then we do have some who are retired. So you've got to keep that in mind as you're planning your rehearsal retirement, because folks are not going to necessarily be able to drop everything. So get in those Facebook groups, ask about the WhatsApp groups, let them know in advance when you're going to be there. And this is going to be really important, especially if you're there for 3 months plus. We really suggest that you do at least 3 months. That means all of your sick time, all of your personal time, all of your vacation time, and you might have some time that's unpaid. And that's okay. You need to plan for it, so that once again, if that budget that you created is going to work.
Right.
Right?
Right. Definitely.
Right. So who are your playmates? So how many playmates you got now?
I got a bunch of playmates. I got the brothers, the men's. I got
acting goofy.
I've got more family here. Oh my God.
Yeah, they were so out of control. They were, and then arguing about the fraternities and this and that, which one was the best, and all that nonsense.
Those were the young bucks.
So
those are the young bucks.
Rory ain't that young.
Well, Rory ain't that young, but he's younger than me. Those are young bucks.
Yeah, I think maybe he's a little bit younger than me.
But I mean, oh my God, it's the camaraderie, the like-mindedness, the things that you just enjoy being around each other in everybody's company. I like to fish, and I haven't had a chance to fish. So I was talking to Stanley.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, he said, we can go ocean fishing. They got lakes. Let me know what you want to do.
There you go.
He said, I know where to go.
There you go. So. Right. And what brings me joy is when I have women call me and say, I need some Halisi time. Yeah. No one was asking to hang out with me.
Yeah.
Like, look, you've been missing in action too long. You've been working on that summit. Now it's time for us to hang out so we can just enjoy each other's company. And I'm getting teary because no one ever said that to me before. And maybe because I was so stressed out. It's like, oh, here she comes. She's going to be complaining. And then she's going to be complaining about the politics. Then it's about what her boss said. And can you believe this? Maybe nobody wanted. Maybe I was so unhappy that no one wanted to hang out with me. But now I actually, there's 3 women in my life right now that say that about once every other month or so, if I've been either gone to Spain or someplace or whatever. And see, I'm getting teary.
And it's going to different places, planning on retiring, doing a bit of retirement. If you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, whatever. We have introverts.
Yep.
We have extroverts. I guess you call them out, people that's outgoing. But it all works because we bring you in.
Yeah.
The group brings you in. The people
Yeah.
bring you in. They're not there to try to take up all your time and interrupt your life. Nobody interrupts anybody's lives. We're there for each other.
And I think the other thing is that everyone appreciates, the folks who actually decide to make a move abroad have some of your same mindset. And so it's easier to find your tribe because everyone has decided that it's easier to heal where the trauma hasn't happened. And I said it that way because a gentleman from the UK said that. And I thought it was so profound. But yeah, it's easier to heal where the trauma doesn't happen. And so what you find is like-minded folks, right?
Oh yeah.
You find like-minded folks. And because they have decided, even if they're working remotely, they've still changed the way they approach life, and work is no longer at the center, which is why they're here. Right. So you will find your playmates. If you were staying in your hometown, if you plan to retire in place where you are, that might be a little bit more difficult, right? Because now, especially if they're calling people back to the office, et cetera, people are still expected to work more than 40 hours a week. So that may be a little bit more difficult. If you live in Colorado, let's just say, but you plan to retire in Nevada, do your trial retirement in Nevada in July.
Mm. Yeah.
See how you like that.
Yeah, you like it.
See how you like that. So I think, this is a time to strengthen social connections. I have more people that I am emotionally connected with that are not blood than I ever have before.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
All right. We're going to go through these last two and then we'll get to questions. So number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Identity and purpose. Many people, we've already said this, derive their identity from their job. I am a doctor. I am a lawyer. I am a marketer. I am Dr. So-and-so, PhD, whatever, right?
So like a trial retirement will help individuals explore and redefine their identities.
Yeah. Because we are not our jobs, y'all. We are not our jobs.
And we need to check ourselves.
Right. And there's so much more to who we are than what we did to make coins. And so this is your opportunity to redefine who you are. And I found that I always thought I was an extrovert. I'm not. And it wasn't until I retired that I realized I'm an introvert.
I always thought I was an introvert.
No, he's the extrovert. He's more extroverted than I am. You are.
I have fun.
So I have fun too.
I know.
But sometimes my having fun is just sitting back and watching other people have fun. I don't need to be in the center or always engaged in conversations. He entertains folks. He got people laughing. He's got people seeking him out. I know you would never know from YouTube. But he is more extroverted than I am. And I think I've just always had to perform. I mean, even when I was younger, my mom would bring me out into the living room. I'd be in my bedroom, minding my own business. She's got company out. Haliti, come out here.
Sing, dance.
Yep, come out here and sing, the way we were or whatever.
Dance like James Brown.
Yeah.
Who's James Brown?
And so y'all know that, I used to work in the entertainment industry. My parents used to work in the entertainment industry. So when my mom was calling me out to the living room to perform, I wasn't performing for Aunt So-and-so. I was performing for like Esther Roll and Janae Dubois from Good Times, right? Like Janae is a singer. So I'm performing for professional folks. And that's a lot of pressure. So, I learned how to be on. And so I thought I was an extrovert, but now I realize that's not my identity. That's not who I am. And my purpose is definitely not to entertain people in my private life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like to have people over. I do. I enjoy that. But I also enjoy going to an event and just sitting back and just observing and not necessarily being, totally engaged. Just watching people have fun brings me joy. It makes me smile. And I'm good with that. I don't need to be the one doing the entertaining, so to speak. So yeah, a trial retirement may open your eyes to parts of you that you did not even know existed because you were never given the liberty, the freedom, the time, right?
Right.
To figure that stuff out.
Or the okay.
Right.
A lot of us just look for the okay to do it.
Yeah, especially when mom is saying, but I like that job for you.
Or you can't act that way. You can't be that way. You have to look a certain way. You have to carry yourself a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is your time to see you just be you, like we did when we were kids for the most part, especially when the parents weren't watching, right? We were just who we were and we didn't try to put on airs. We danced, didn't care if people thought we couldn't dance.
Like,
We just do whatever.
Dance like nobody's watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the last one, you know what? I don't think everything printed because I don't have this stuff because
we hadn't hit this one yet.
Exactly. So we'll get to this. So this is the soft stuff. And then we'll get to the hard stuff. Go ahead.
Relationship dynamics.
If you are planning to retire with your partner or spouse,
you're going to spend a lot of time with them.
How much time?
A lot of time with them. See, like I said earlier, so we spent the whole day, and we don't get to do it all the time.
No, we don't.
But we actually spent the whole day. It was nice and cold outside. It was like, okay, got into bed, got up, made coffee, got back into bed, said, you know what, it's cold. What do we have to do besides get ready for tonight? And it's just, we just going to be in the bed and lay here. And
we had breakfast in bed.
Had breakfast in bed.
I had to get up and make it.
Well, yeah, I made the coffee.
He makes the best coffee.
So it was a shared experience to some degree.
Yes.
But it was nice. It was just chilling. It was just hanging out with each other and, her doing her thing on her computer or phone and me doing my thing on my iPad and computer or whatever. It's just chilling out.
Yeah.
Not having to do anything.
Yeah. So this is going to expose if you have any issues in your relationship because you will be spending a lot more time together. Not to say that we don't have separate lives because he does his men's group thing and they go off and they do stuff, or he'll just hang out with one or two friends, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes I go off, like yesterday, I was hanging out with Krishan half the day. He didn't come. And there are those, but by and large, we spend a lot more time together than we ever have before. And so this is your time to see if counseling may be in order. Do you communicate well? Right? Are each of you willing to compromise? Who is expected to do what and why? And are you all on the same page with this, right? The artwork that we had, we showed him thinking about fishing and me thinking about chilling on the beach. Well, if we plan to do this stuff together, what we doing? I don't like to fish. I don't like to eat fish. And I get seasick. I don't want fish. So if the retirement plan was to retire on a lake so he could fish every day, that
probably wouldn't work.
That's not going to work. That is not going to work, right? So we have to make sure that we have the same expectations and that we're at least on the same page about what his expectations are, her expectations are, my expectations are.
And then you do make compromises too.
Yeah.
You make compromises and you do what things that need to be done in order to make everybody comfortable and happy with what we're doing, with what choices we make to do. So
yeah, absolutely. this could be an opportunity for you to reboot your relationship.
Yeah.
So I would say Rick and I now are closer than we've ever been after 20 years. 20 years, and we're still learning things about each other that we didn't know because we were so busy working, and then we would come home stressed out and just complain about the job.
Yep.
Or there was kid stuff to do back in the day, right? And so taking Jabari to karate, going to the parent meetings, you know, you and Jabari would do activities sometimes, right? And so you were so busy that if there were issues, they just got put on the back burner because you're busy. Next thing you know, it's Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and you're in your bubble stressing out about the stuff
Monday.
that you have to do on Monday.
Another manic Monday.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's see what you all are talking about, and then we will get to the concrete stuff. I'm looking for cues. Hey, AC, good to see you. Cherie's in the house. Negocio genial. Negocio. Here's a cue. Okay. Hey, Adelia. Good to see you.
Hey, Adelia.
Good to see you. Adelia is doing lives every single day, y'all. I don't know how she's doing it. Adelia, if you want to drop in when Eastern time, you go live every day for Vlogmas. I caught her yesterday and I was like, what's she doing going live on Saturday? Thank you, Hall. Thank you. But it was good. Yesterday was really good. And so I encourage you, if you are wanting more information about this living abroad thing, see, brick and mortar fabric stores are hard to come by in the US. Exactly. But they're everywhere here in Portugal. And so you can see that there is a difference in the lifestyle. No, he can't.
I can tango.
No, he can't.
Brother man, I would not lie to you.
No, he can't.
They can call it ghetto tango, they can call it whatever, but I can tango. Yeah,
there was a Joanne's fabric store by our house in Denver. But yeah, they are few and far between. So that's, the things that, that bring you joy, you want to make sure that those things exist. You know that.
I am?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
You figure Bobby.
Yeah, because everybody gravitates towards you when we go to places. They do. All right. I am trying to get all of these questions in. I'm going to go back. I should have been doing this all along. We love you guys too. It was so much fun spending Friday with you. We didn't leave their house. I think I went to sleep at 3:00 in the morning, y'all.
What time we leave?
We left at like 1:00 in the morning.
About 1?
Yeah. Now you know. Okay, so Adelia goes live. She's going live every day until Christmas at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So y'all check her out, because let me tell you, if you don't know, Adelia knows. Someone mentioned change to CEF in Portugal happening. Can you speak about that for those considering retirement in Portugal? Yeah, it's just
their CEF is gone.
Yeah, they just separated their immigration department from their customs department. And so now those are two different government entities. I can't remember what the new immigration department is called. It really doesn't matter.
I think
AIMA, AIMA or something like that. Okay, too. Good, great. So yeah, as far as the process, it doesn't change the process whatsoever.
Like AIMI or something
like that. So I guess we should know. So when we have to renew, but we'll know by then. It's really new. It's just in the past month and a half. So again, for the process, that doesn't change anything. Can you book an in-person session if you're coming to Lisbon? Sure.
Yeah, we haven't had an in-person session.
No, we haven't necessarily. Sure, we could do that. So just book a session through Calendly, through the link that's in the description below. and then put in the notes that you want to do it in person. Send us an email too, and then we will plan it out for that day and time and figure out a location. So, is there a discount for multi purchases? We might could do that, Cassandra. Send me an email. How soon should you start planning to do your test retire? My husband and I have about a year or more to get our finances under control. Almost 54 and he's 56. I think it depends on your money situation.
Right.
And where you plan to do your trial retirement, right? So if you want to go when there's the worst weather to you, so if you hate hot, that would be, summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, right? And then it's the opposite if you're planning to retire in the Southern Hemisphere, or if you can't stand the cold, then it would be around now, right? So that's one thing that you need to think about. But the biggest thing is about the money. You are not going to be bringing in money during this time. So except for whatever vacation pay you have and things like that. So the question is, what are you going to do with the place that you're living in the United States, if that's where you are, or in your home country? Are you going to sublet it? Are you going to rent it out? Or do you have enough saved to just pay that rent, that mortgage during that time, if your house is not paid off, and still be able to pay rent in the new location? So if you are really close to fire, you may be able to plan this for January.
Yeah.
Right? If you still have to save money and things like that, then you know what you have to make arrangements for. So if you need help planning, definitely book a call with us. But there, all of the things that you will need to plan for. And for us, I had to figure out my parents. I had to figure out what we were going to do with our house in Denver and with our stuff. Because if we had renters in there, then some of the personal stuff needed to be locked up, put away, et cetera, right? So it really helps if you've got somebody who's in, like, especially if this is a trial and you are going to sublet your house, that this is somebody that you semi-trust, not a stranger.
Right.
Otherwise, you'd have to get your house ready as if you were going to Airbnb it. Are there places in Lisbon where they have cooking classes? Yes.
Yeah.
All day long. All day long. They do, I call them cooking classes for tourists at the timeout market. I don't do the timeout market. It's too crowded. There's too many tourists and there's too many germs. But they do have in the center, a big thing where they do cooking classes, but there's cooking classes all over the city. That's easy to find. Anything that you can do in the United States, you can do here, except for buy a gun easily.
Yeah, can't do that.
Except for use the police as your own personal bodyguards.
Yeah, you can't do that either.
But any of the fun, wholesome, extracurricular stuff that you can do in the United States, you can do it here. Okay? Everything. There's even skiing, some hill up there, up north, which, being from Colorado, a Rocky Mountain state, missed me with that.
You can learn how to surf, Greta.
You can learn how to surf. Can you do a segment of affordable housing in cities with access to excellent healthcare in Colombia? Is COL Colombia, Cassandra? It's essential to have Facebook. For all of you who are social media averse, how are you going to get in touch with people in your new city?
Yeah, you have to be able to do that.
How? I don't know. How do you find out about the meetups? There are meetups on Meetup, on that app, but a lot of them happen in the Facebook groups. Okay. And so, especially for the Facebook groups where there's no YouTube channel involved, et cetera, our meetup, by the way, is in June, and it's June 17th and 18th. So it's always going to be around Juneteenth. And so that's when our meetup was. I think somebody had a question about that. Information is in the description below. You can still buy tickets at the discounted price. before we negotiate our prices and then have to raise them with the vendors, with the people on the boat, and all of that stuff. So if they raise their price, we got to raise our price. But in any event, yeah, it's really essential to have a social media presence, and especially Facebook, because the Facebook groups are going to be invaluable, y'all. They're going to be invaluable. And so that doesn't mean you have to put all of your business
No,
on
you don't.
Facebook. That doesn't mean that you have to read about everybody else's business and what they have for breakfast and all of that stuff on Facebook either. But you want to show up, because if you are planning, let's just say, to come to Lisbon, and you're not in POCs in Portugal or Black in Portugal Facebook group, it's going to be, besides us, it's going to be very hard for you to meet people, to know when the meetups are happening or anything else, because they're not promoted anyplace else except for on those Facebook groups. If you want to come here for your trial retirement and you want to hang out with some English speaking folks, or some Portuguese folks, right?
I mean, even American friends in Portugal,
they
give good information.
Exactly. They give good information. Either way it goes, how are you going to meet those folks? Except for, you can go to physical meetups, you can do that, but you're not going to be able to plan things in advance. So if you just want to hang out with a select group of people, or if you want to have some play dates scheduled in advance, the best way to do that is through Facebook. And then you can go offline to do the particular planning. Say, oh yeah, I'd like to meet you. Okay, let's message each other or whatever. Don't be afraid of social media. And anyone who wants to start a side hustle, you better be on social media. In Texas, sorry, not soon enough, prior military in the school system, myself, a school nurse, and my husband, a teacher, were able to buy 5 years service time toward our retirement. Oh, cool. Look into your veteran opportunities for those who are veterans. Okay, that's good information. Thank you. Because neither of us have ever been in the service, so we don't know those things. Are you saying that this 3-month getaway occurred after retirement but before starting the residency process? I'm saying, Cassandra, for your trial retirement, that you should, let's just say Portugal's on the list, Mexico is on the list, and Ecuador is on the list. If you want to do 9 months, 3 months in each country, I would do that. If it's going to be Schengen, obviously on a tourist visa, you can only stay for 3 months, right? But you can leave for 3 months and come back in 3 months also. So that also is an opportunity. But yes, we are saying that if you're close to retirement, then I'm not sure if a trial is really in your best interest. Like if you're planning to retire in 3 months.
Yeah, no.
But if you think you're retiring in 2 years, for instance, then this is an opportunity to test it out and to see who you are and how you will be without work, and to make sure that your money's straight. Okay. So that was at 9:08. Let's go see if there's anything more before we I don't know. I think that's supposed to be, we're going to talk about finances and stuff next.
So
cost of living. So okay, so let me go back to those questions. Can you do a segment of affordable housing, cost of living in cities with access to excellent healthcare? Cassandra, we've done that.
Yeah, we've done that.
Every single one that we've done, best cities, have been a cost of living, including housing. So we have one that is 15. We have one live for $2,000 or less, $2,500 or less, $1,500 or less. And they're all still relatively relevant because we haven't been on YouTube even 2 years yet. Right? So thank you, Helen, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure who that was who helped us with the cost of living thing. Pinky. Thank you. And Vicky. Cost of living, y'all helping us out. Cause look, okay, so SEF is AIMA, I think is what they're calling it. And it's a mess. system is not prepared for what they're supposed to be doing, for what I've heard, what I've been hearing. I don't know, though I do know a couple of people who have had their appointments relatively recent, and those went smoothly. So Victoria asks, when you guys are hanging out at night, how's the travel back home, being that you don't have a car? Does public transportation run 24 hours?
Public transportation doesn't run 24
girl.
hours?
No.
I mean, Uber.
Bolt. Yeah. Rideshare is 24 hours,
Yeah.
of course, right? And so if we're really late, like when we were coming home at 1:00 in the morning, if we were in the city, that still would have been early enough to catch the train back or a bus back, because it's like 1:30 they stopped running. But we were outside of the city. We were in the suburbs. So we took a Bolt, and at 1:00 in the morning, I think we shared a Bolt with our friends, and our portion was like €9.
Yeah.
I paid more than that to literally go 3 blocks in LA. So
yeah, buses usually stop around 1:00. Metro.
Yeah.
1:00, 1 a.m. Unless something special is happening.
And then they'll have them.
Then they'll extend the time.
Like in June, y'all, for the parties. Miss Halisi cracked me up when she said to Mr. Rigg, your form is not correct.
She ain't right.
I watched the movies. I know how it's supposed to be.
Oh, no. Hey.
He was doing the ghetto version, y'all. He was doing the ghetto version. That's what he was doing.
Swing you down.
We do not have an address or location for the June meetup, but it will be in Lisbon proper. So it looks like that we're going to get the same boat. So that is right before Alcantara. And the restaurant that we are probably going to rent for the party is also in Lisbon proper. So Lisbon is physically not that big, y'all, especially if you live west of the Mississippi, where there's lots of sprawl. You will find Lisbon to be geographically small. It's a lot of stuff packed in a small space. So we're still learning about new areas, but physically it's still not that big. I have always used Facebook like a tool. I got on Facebook because my younger sister, who is like 15 years younger than me, was like, if you want to keep in touch with me, you got to be on Facebook. This was 2005. So I've been on Facebook since 2005. And it was just to see my niece grow up, see what was going on, et cetera, et cetera. But I've always used it as a tool. So Oedish was what? 20 minutes. It depends on which trains, yes, because they have one that doesn't do every single stop, and then there's ones that do every stop. It seemed like we were there before I even knew it. I couldn't even get 3 games played.
I want to say 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, because it's 30 minutes on the fast train to Cascais and 40 minutes on the slow train, and that's like 4 stops before Cascais, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, about 20 minutes. Yeah, it's quick. It's quick. And if Mel and T are still in the audience, if you want to help her out with that, if we're being overly optimistic. All right, let's get to the concrete stuff. These are the things that you need to do to prepare for your dress rehearsal retirement.
Number 1 is financial assessment.
A trial retirement will allow you to assess your financial preparedness for retirement, y'all. It gives you the opportunity to test your budget, understand your spending patterns, but you should already know your spending patterns. The thing is sometimes we are overly optimistic on the changes that we're going to make in retirement. This gives you the opportunity to see if that is indeed the case. Like, it's real easy to fall back into old patterns if you are doing some form of minimalism, for example, to fall back into old patterns. So you will be able to easily see if the budget that you've created is actually going to work, if the savings that you have is going to be enough, et cetera, et cetera. So you need to do that financial assessment, and this will give you an opportunity. I have to say, we did not. So for the soft things, we were prepared
Mm-hmm.
for how we were going to spend our day and all of that stuff. We were prepared because um, we had times in our life when we didn't have to clock in, but we did not. I was not 100% positive that we could live off of what we could live. No, I take that back. I was 100% positive that we could live on the budget that I created. What I wasn't 100% positive about, because you can always decide to you live on the money you have, period, the end, right? But will you be happy living on that budget? And that's the part that we did not have a trial. And so I wasn't sure if that was enough money for us to do all of the things that we wanted to do. Well, not all the things we wanted to do, but some of the things that we wanted to do each month and still feel comfortable, right? And so definitely that was an opportunity to do that. And we figured out that, yeah, for the most part, every once in a while we go over, usually when we travel, but we make up for it when we stay home.
Right.
So, number 2.
Okay. Health and wellness evaluation.
Especially mental health.
Yeah.
Right? This is going to be your opportunity to see how tied up into your job you really are, and how the feelings of uncertainty, how you manage and handle those feelings of uncertainty. So you can access or assess your physical and mental health and well-being. Also will allow you to evaluate your stress levels.
Yeah.
Right? Change for some people is really, really hard. And so are you going to be at 15 minutes on the express train? See, stress, I know, like Gloria Vincent, that's my mom.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all know by now.
She does not handle change well.
Hmm.
I have had to be a go with the flow person because my parents moved so much when I was younger, most of it due to the harassment of the government. I went to a lot of different schools in elementary school. And so I had to learn how to adapt to new environments. But some folks have been able to go to the same elementary school, middle school, high school, and are living now in the general area that they were raised in, right? So you want to make sure that the place that you're going to has the appropriate health care.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So we suggest that you see if you can visit a doctor or a pharmacist or a dentist in the new place. We know somebody who visited a chiropractor, and even maybe a mental health professional. Can you find mental health professionals that speak English? Because even if you're really good in the language of the place that you're going to, having those conversations like this, let's just say in Spanish, it's one thing to have a general conversation in Spanish or a transactional conversation in Spanish, but to talk about feelings and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Everything doesn't translate.
It might be a little, you might not have the vocabulary necessary, right? To be able to have those kind of conversations. So this is what the trial is all about. We moved to Portugal not knowing, we knew that Serenity Care existed. We knew that we could find English speaking doctors, but we didn't know what that care was going to look like.
No.
And so it really would have been nice to do a trial. We were ready to go. We want to make sure that you have a less stressful transition. I, again, want to see some of those videos from when I first moved to see if it was showing all over my face. But for instance, I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday. And this Thursday, we're finally going to be talking about healthcare. We have experienced the system enough to be able to speak at least partially well on the subject matter. And so I'm going to give away this in that she spoke to me for an hour and a half, y'all. I was in her office talking to her about my health for an hour and a half. So I'll leave it at that. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just different things that you learn about, especially on the healthcare side, that I didn't realize, and I was telling somebody about it the other day. We were talking to somebody, and I didn't realize when you come here and here in Portugal. So you go to a doctor. The doctor writes you a prescription to go get whatever done you need to have done. So anytime you go to a doctor's appointment and you need, say, like ultrasound, they write you a prescription for it. You go to your facility, you get your ultrasound, and usually in the United States, when you do that, the your doctor or your doctor's office, somebody in the doctor's office will contact you and let you know results, or say, hey, we need you to come in for a follow up. They don't do that here.
We're not going to give anything more away because we're going to talk about that on Thursday.
Yeah.
But these are the things that you have to see if your personality can handle it, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to spend all of this money and make this move and then not know, especially if you're planning not to retire in your home state, and not know if these are the things that you can tolerate. So I will mark these questions as I see them. All right. So testing your retirement plan. Do you have specific plans for your retirement?
Are you relocating?
Right. We talked about that.
Are you starting a business?
We've talked about that.
Purchasing a passion project.
Right. Like, purchasing a passion project or starting a passion project, all of these things that you think seem so, oh gosh, I can't wait until I be able to. Well, this is your opportunity to start that stuff, to practice that stuff, and see if what you imagine is going to be reality.
That should test it out.
Yeah, you might find that either yes, now I cannot wait, or what was I thinking? This stuff bores me to death, or there's no way I want to do all of this, right? So this is your opportunity to see if the plans that you have on how your days are going to look and what you're going to be doing actually makes sense. Number 4.
Identifying potential issues.
Yeah, this is the one that we've been talking about. What emotional adjustments that you have to make? What are unexpected expenses, right? So for me, I'm thinking, or changes in relationships. Okay, so number 1, it looks like I'm going to have to go back to the States in the next 4 or 5 months. I was not planning for that. So now our budget has to adjust so that I can go back and do what needs to be done, handle the business, and come back, right? The people who were your friends before may not be your friends after, especially if they're not lifelong friends.
Yeah.
You're living in a different world. They can't relate. What are you guys going to talk about? They want to talk about work and complain about the boss, and you're on a whole different page, right? And so this will be your opportunity to see if those friendships can withstand a change that where you had something in common, a major part of their life, work, right? The gestures. I guess I did. If that's really going to work, right? If your relationship is going to be able to withstand that change. And for me, I found that some people have just kind of stopped calling. They're busy doing what they're doing, and we'll plan to talk and they'll forget about it.
Okay.
Life shows up.
We ain't hating.
Life shows up. And then finally,
fine-tuning goals.
Yes. So after you have done all of these things, now you can look back on your retirement plan and say, okay, what can we change? What needs to change? What do we need to do? What worked out well? And you can fine tune all of that so that you can have a smooth retirement that you don't have to undo. What we don't want is for you to get into a situation where you have major regrets, right? Where you get into a situation and say, oh, damn, we got to go back to work. Because you're not going to want to go back to work. We're just going to tell you right now, this trial retirement may be your permanent retirement. But if not, because you're not at your financial goals or whatever, or you want to wait until you get that big cash out or something like that, because that's part of your whole financial plan, we get it. But this definitely will give you the opportunity to be able to have a much, much smoother transition. Look, when we got out, I got out because it was killing me. And so some of the plans that we had to go by the wayside because we were not going to be working for as long as we thought we were. We thought I was going to be working for at least another 9 months to a year. That was one plan. And then the other plan was another 3 years. So some of the plans that we had to change, right? And so now you will get the opportunity, if you want to do this trial retirement, this dress rehearsal retirement, you will get the opportunity to see if what you have planned is actually going to work in reality. All right. So what questions do you have? I'm going to go back to the start. I know some of these we've already answered. Unstar, Texas. I answered that. So I answered this. The meetup is going to be in Lisbon proper. And I say that to say any Airbnb and or hotel that you get in Lisbon proper, you will be a metro ride away, but you don't have to stay in Lisbon proper. So I really don't like Facebook. There are a lot of expats on Facebook. There's a lot of important information. Yeah,
there is.
Right. And so we just kind of do what we have to do. I'm not a big, I don't like Meta. I think they're haters. I don't like the way they have used our information. And in some ways, you allowed others to use our information against us. I don't like it, but use it as a tool. When you guys hang out at night, how's travel? Okay, so we answered that. Yeah. And Ubers and Bolt here. Bolt is like their version of Lyft. Okay.
You just had to see it again.
I had to see it again. So Bolt here in Colorado is like Lyft. That's another reason why you have to get on Facebook. There was a different app that we downloaded, I think Didi or something like that, when we were in Mexico. Right. And Bolt is actually used in Spain as well, and is even connected to their taxi service in Spain. So every country has different ride shares, or may have different ride shares. Uber seems to be not necessarily universal. I've been to states that don't have Uber in the United States, but here it is a fraction of the cost that I experienced both in Denver and in LA.
But out of all of them, Uber is more international than Lyft or anything like that. I haven't seen Lyft.
I'm working towards living off half my income and invest the rest in order to prepare for retirement. Congratulations, High Vibe. We like to hear, what is your savings rate, y'all? This is something that we talk about in Beyond the Bling, and we show you how to assess your savings rate, increase your savings rate. And Beyond the Bling, our financial independence course. Since retirement is about 5 years from now, could this also be a way to test retirement? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this test retirement will allow you, if you need to save more than 50%, this will let you know. This will let you know if the budget that you have planned is a budget that you can actually live on and be happy. Because what we don't want is for you to be less happy in retirement than you were working for the man. Right? Hey, Amber, how soon should you plan to do a test retirement? I think I answered that one already. So yeah, I told you that depends on your financial situation and what that's going to look like. I think I answered about CEF in Portugal. And so I'm going to undo that. We answered that. So send us an email, Stephen. hello@ourblackutopia.com. Cassandra, send us an email about multi-purchases. We will definitely work something out.
So no, you can join the men's group if you are in the States or wherever. You have to join through Black in Portugal. So Black in Portugal kind of hosts the group.
Really? Your guys' men's group?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Craig had set it up through Black in Portugal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a WhatsApp group.
And it goes to WhatsApp too, but it was actually set
I didn't know that. Okay.
Portugal.
Cool. So and there are people in there who have not yet moved to Lisbon.
Right.
Right. But you have to be someone who wants to move to Lisbon.
Right. So
Or
Craig,
not to Lisbon, to Portugal.
yeah, Brother Craig is in the States, but he's planning on moving to Portugal, and he's the one that actually started the group.
I didn't realize that. So Jeanette, I'm assuming that you're asking, did we have to use a translation app with our doctors? No. And then for the test results and stuff like that, if we have questions before the follow-up appointment, Serenity helps us with that. So I don't think we have a link to Serenity in the description, but it's Serenity Care in Portugal. Just Google them and they will come up. They are a medical concierge service and we highly recommend them. We use them and we don't get paid to say that. How did you handle the discussion with family about moving to another country? I'm sure you've gotten this question before, but I'm new and would love to hear your response. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome.
We just said we out. We moving. Peace out. Y'all come see us when you can.
People believe that they have the right to tell you how your life should go. But the bottom line is it's your life. And if you are not happy where you are, you have the right to go and be the person that you need to be so that you can be happy. And that may make some other people uncomfortable because they've depended upon you for X, Y, and Z. That's a them problem, not a you problem. Like I do owe my parents in my mind to make sure that they are taken care of, but it is not my responsibility to physically be the one to do that thing. Right. And then as far as our kids are grown, and even still, we did make decisions in the past based upon them, but they didn't make decisions based upon us.
Nope.
We were staying in Colorado so we could be near the grandkids. And then we turned around and looked and everybody was gone. Everybody was gone. All the grandkids were gone. So what are we doing? Right? If they get a promotion and get a job out of state,
Right.
They're gone. They're not going to say, Mom, Dad, do you mind if I move? No, they're like, I'm about to get this promotion. It's going to pay me $20,000 more. I'm out. So, how they say on the airplane, you got to put on your own mask first, right? I believe that I am a better daughter to my parents now because I am happy and I'm not stressed out as much.
And we're very accessible.
Well, yeah. And well, that's the other thing in 2023 with
it's not like
FaceTime.
It's not like back in the day on Christmas time or whatever. Okay, we're gonna call grandma, but all you can do is say Merry Christmas, then you got to pass the phone. It's not like that.
Well, like this.
Yeah, okay, after what, a minute and a half, you got to hang up so you get hit with all those charges.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like that anymore. And we're accessible. They can email us. They can FaceTime us. They can WhatsApp us. They can do whatever they need to do. And it's a plain. You get on a plane and you're there in a matter of hours.
Well, depending upon where you live.
But depending on where you live. But, California is further away, but
yeah,
you get there.
Yeah.
You get there. It's not like it's going to take you 4 or 5 days to get there. It's not.
So I don't want to come off as callous. And I understand, like I had already moved 2 states away from where the majority of my family is and his family, to be perfectly honest, because we're both from Southern California. So we had already moved to a different state. So there's that. So my mom and dad had already gotten used to not seeing me on every single holiday and every other day and for Sunday dinner and all of that. But that being said, I don't want to come off as callous, but I really, really, truly believe that you get one shot at this thing called life, y'all. You get one shot. And if you are not happy, then there is no reason to stay to make someone else happy, because in the end, you're not going to make them happy. You're going to make them miserable because you're going to be miserable. So that's number one. Number two, I don't think any free-thinking Black folk should be remaining in the United States. Find your happy place outside of the United States where racism isn't lethal. Find your happy place outside of the United States where racism is not lethal. Racism is lethal in some other countries as well, right? I'm not going to say it's not, but don't choose those countries. Choose Portugal, choose Mexico, choose a country.
Give yourself some choices.
Right? Choose a country where the color of your skin does not mean you are born suspect. Right? And so sometimes we have to be the Harriet Tubmans of our families to show them that there is a different way, that living in another country is okay, it's safe, and could actually be fun and a good thing. Our family, when we first mentioned it to our kids, why would you want to move out of the United States? By the end of our set of conversations, our oldest was saying, Dad, you and Halisi got to show the way. You got to show us the way it's done.
Yeah, you got to show us it's possible to do.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. It's like, it's possible to do, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, does my mom still say, so when you coming home? And I just had to remind her just last week, I am home. I am home. What are the areas of Lisbon that have walkability? All areas of Lisbon are walkable and cost $1,500 to live for a 75-year-old. It's not going to be Lisbon proper, but definitely across the river, you can live for that much. I would say across the river. So that would be Alfama, Casillas, maybe Seixal. So if you look on the map and you see Lisbon's on one side of the Tejo River, look on the other side of the Tejo River, those places that are right on the edge, because they have ferries that come back and forth, and you're still in Lisbon Metro. So it's still just the one Metro card. All right. But also check out our video that we did last week. Okay. Because one of those places is like 26% less than living in Lisbon. So check out the videos that we did last week. Get our Ready to Retire Toolkit, which is in the description below. Mm-hmm. And that will give you the links to the databases for cost of living for different cities. But yeah, I would say it's going to be the Lisbon suburbs, and I would start on the other side of the river. A lot of our friends live on the other side. Well, not a lot, but some of our friends live on the other side of the river. So, okay. Let's see what else we have. So we're talking about doing a mini retirement and why it's so important. Yeah, healthcare is definitely important. It's definitely important, and you want to make sure that wherever you're moving to, that the healthcare is as good as, if not better than, the United States. And let me tell you, that's not hard to do. That's not hard to do. Halisi and Rick, is $10,000 enough for my daughter and I in the bank? Enough for what, baby?
Yeah, when you say, is it enough for you to qualify?
No, it's not. Like if you're talking about moving to Portugal, no. You're going to need that much. You're going to need about that much for your apartment, because they're going to. Now, Rossini has worked some miracles with some folks and has been able to negotiate down like 1 month in advance, 1 month for security deposit plus the current month. But we ended up putting 5 months, 2 months in advance, 2 months worth of security deposit plus the current month. That's 5 months. And let's just say if a person was paying, even $1,000, that's $5,000 right there, if you could find an apartment for $1,000. So I'm not sure, Jess, what you're asking about.
Yeah, if you're probably need to clarify more.
Yeah, if you're talking about $10,000 for you to do a 3-month trial retirement, and your bills will be taken care of in the States, then yes, I think that is enough for a 3-month trial retirement. But to make the move, no, not even close, baby. Moving, like, maybe, if you are going to move to Mexico, let's just say, and you're going to continue to work part-time, it could be enough. In certain cities in Mexico, think Querétaro, maybe Guadalajara. Some places that a lot of people aren't mentioning, like Rashida said earlier, everybody moved to Merida and now the rents are out of control.
Right.
They're still not out of control compared to what they were in Denver. I'm just going to tell you that right now, or what they are in Denver, but they might be out of control compared to Indiana or Ohio or someplace like that. So give me some more information. What city should I visit first? Planning on going to Portugal and will be staying for a month. Lisbon, of course. It depends. It depends on how, like, if you want to move here, what is your life going to look like? What lifestyle do you want? If you want the beach, then it's going to be outside of Lisbon or the Algarve or the Silver Coast, right? If you want to be close to the wine country and you like cooler weather, that's going to be Porto.
Sure.
If you want to live in a small university town, maybe Braga or Coimbra or someplace like that. If you want to live in a cosmopolitan city, it's going to be Lisbon. So it just depends. What's up essential? I can't seem to access it. Oh, WhatsApp. I think that's what you mean. It is essential. WhatsApp is essential. Everybody on the planet uses it except for people in the United States.
Yeah, definitely get WhatsApp.
It's WhatsApp, and it's a meta thing. It's owned by Facebook. But it allows you to call anywhere in the world via Wi-Fi for free. And so our kids call us on WhatsApp. WhatsApp groups, every time we're planning some kind of group activity, we just put everybody in a WhatsApp group to plan that activity. So I have a dinner group. I have the Friday sangria group. There's going to be a pajama party on Saturday. There's the pajama party group.
Kind of different.
And those are temporary groups. That's not even including the WhatsApp group like Heather of Black in Portugal has for Lisbon, Melanated Lisboa, right? And so that's a forever group where people are always exchanging information as well as planning meetups. WhatsApp is definitely essential.
And like she said, the men's group also is on WhatsApp.
Yeah, and there's Uber and Bolt. And Bolt is not always less expensive, but Bolt, someone told me Bolt gives their drivers a bigger cut. So if that is indeed the case, then I try to use Bolt more often than not. What city should I visit? Okay, I just answered that.
Rainy. It's raining now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's raining in Porto, but it's raining in Lisbon.
It's raining here right now. But then the past couple of days, it was cooler, right? Like 50s and 60s, but it was sunny.
Right. But in the week before that, it was like sunny every day. It was like 70, low 80s.
Yeah. Well, that was 2 weeks ago.
Right. That was a couple of weeks ago. And then we expected to get cooler, but.
So most of the video that we released last week on the beach cities, most of that footage was recorded in the winter and early spring. So that gives you an idea that, it rains, then it gets sunny, it rains, and then it gets sunny. And that's good because we need the rain so that we don't have the fires in the summertime. We don't need a drought. What area or communities in Lisbon would you guys suggest staying in while doing the test retirement? So if Lisbon is the place, we did do a video called Airbnb Do's and Don'ts, where to stay in Lisbon for vacation or for a scouting trip. Scouting trip, trial retirement, same kind of thing, because you're going to be living day to day. You're going to be trying out your day-to-day life, not necessarily just doing vacation-y stuff, right? So we did that video. In there, we go over the different areas of Lisbon as well as on the other side of the river. And there is a map also that you can download. It's in the description of that video. So I would check that out, babe. I would check that out. It's not like that here.
No.
If you're talking about Portugal, it's not like that here. In public housing, I've seen segregation. And there are neighborhoods that more Black folks live in, more areas where more Black folks live in. But when you're talking about folks who are solidly middle to upper middle and very well off, it's not like in LA, we had the Black Beverly Hills called Baldwin Hills, right? And Ladera Heights. That was the Black Beverly Hills. That's not a thing here. So yeah. Like our neighborhood supposedly is upper middle class. There's Black folks who live in this neighborhood besides us that speak Portuguese. Yeah, most of the people here speak in our neighborhood speak Portuguese. We don't really hear American English very often at all when walking around. Oh, good. And then if you have problems finding that, just send us an email and Rick can direct you. hello@ourblackutopia.com, because these are some of these, like, get involved in a group. Some of the stuff are new features with Facebook, and y'all, look, I'm gonna be honest, I can't keep up. Now you can create chats and all of this from different subject matters and different posts. And I love that the brother just created a men's group. Look, right? It's like Stephanie Perry says, if what you want is not out there, build it yourself. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So sometimes you're going to have to be, for the D7. Okay. Qualifications. Once you've already paid for your apartment and 1-year lease. So you're going to need to, you know that you're going to have, for the D7, you're going to have to be bringing in minimum wage plus 50% for your child, right? So whenever that is, whatever the minimum wage is at that time. Our immigration person told us before we show up at VSF in the United States and before we showed up at the immigration department here, we needed to have 3 to 4 months worth of living expenses in our account. Okay. So I'm phrasing it that way because there is no set number. If people tell you there's a set number, it's only because they don't know your circumstances. If you're living off of $1,500 a month, for instance, then that's more than enough. But if you're living off of $4,000 a month, that's not enough, right? So that's why I say it that way. And, depending upon who you get, like with Rick at the immigration department, they didn't look at anything.
They look at nothing. Well, they looked at one thing.
The passport. No,
2 things, passport and the rental agreement.
But they didn't look at the rental agreement. She just looked at the address to confirm our address.
Yeah, as far as looking.
To see what we were paying and all that, she looked. We came with the bank statements and all of that. She didn't even ask for that. Now, my person asked for everything and made copies and scanned everything. The bank account, the agreement, every page of the lease agreement, the PO, power of attorney, because the in-laws own the apartment, not the kids who leased it to us. Well, they're not kids. They're adults, but so she looked at everything. So once again, how much do you have to have in there? Our immigration person said 3 to 4 months. Whether they look at your lease to see if you're paying $1,000 a month or $4,000 a month, you don't know. So you want to play it safe, because once you are in their hands, you are in their hands, and it doesn't really matter what the rules say. Like one person asked for a copy of their person's Social Security card. Now, we as Americans,
we don't give a Social Security card.
What are we doing?
Yeah. That was weird to us.
And it was weird to the immigration person as well. And she's like, look, this is not on the list. This has never been on the list. So we're going to ask you that you go ahead and approve this, and then we'll send you a copy later. And she got it done. That's why it's really important for you to hire somebody to help you. What do you consider the cons of living on the other side of the river, if any? Would you yourself ever choose to live on the other side of the river? If not, why not? So the biggest con that I can see is that you just have to be a lot more thoughtful when coming over to this side of the river for social engagements, etc. because it's going to take you more time to get back. So you might have to leave
You
an
might have to
event
leave earlier.
earlier if you're going to take public transportation, or be prepared to pay for an Uber or Bolt.
But other than that, as far as apartments or anything,
You
I
can
didn't see
find
it.
old charming, you can find
yeah.
new modern.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I would say maybe less restaurant choices, but I can't even fairly say that, because we haven't, like, we know Almada pretty well, and
But I think there
Casillas.
was a lot of restaurant choices.
Definitely a lot of restaurants. And so that's right. Like, I'm not even sure if that's a fair statement. And so the Mexican restaurant we went to for T's birthday was down in Oeiras, and they were from the Yucatan, right? That's where Merida is. And that was authentic Mexican food in the suburbs. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is that right now, the majority of English speaking Black folks now, local friends, like a friend of ours who moved over there, she's got a group of friends over there now. And most of them, they're all, look, none of us speak Portuguese well enough to have a Portuguese friend who can't speak some English.
Right.
We just don't. We're trying. We are trying. We are taking lessons. But, you want to have some friends. You got to have a social network. And so, if you're living on the other side, there's going to be less opportunity for English speaking Black folks over there, but get involved in your yoga classes, right? Do meetups over there, do language exchanges over there. There are plenty of Black folks over there. There are. But the question is how many of them speak English? Now, there is a language exchange group with a group of Angolans who want to practice English, and we want to practice Portuguese. And so those opportunities exist,
Right.
and so that's how you can make friends other than American immigrants, right? Anything else about over there? No. Okay, Tanya, at first I didn't have Portugal on my radar until I saw you. If you want to do Portugal, you want to do it sooner than later. Things, they are changing. As someone mentioned, our prime minister retired, stepped down about a month and a half ago.
Resigned.
I have not heard the outcome of the budget vote. I'm going to have to call somebody to ask, because Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving has I haven't been looking at the news, so I don't know what the outcome of voting on the budget. But yeah, there's plenty of Asian restaurants here. This is a cosmopolitan city, y'all. There are Japanese restaurants, Chinese restaurants. There's a whole area that is dominated by East Asians. And then there's Southeast Asians as well, right? So Nepalese, Bangladesh, Indian, etc. So all of those foods, from sushi to korma to ramen and everything in between, exists here.
It's here.
And it's good too. And it is good. Yes, it is, especially if you're just depending upon people in the Facebook groups. And the other thing is, Jess, the reason why I answered it that way, and that we can answer it a lot more accurately than most of the people in the Facebook groups, because most of the people in the Facebook groups, either they haven't moved here or they moved here a while ago and things change. But because we just had the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit and heard from the experts who do this for a living, we are able to answer these questions a lot more effectively.
The budget was approved.
Okay, so the budget passed, but what was in it? Yeah, they don't care. They don't care what kind of apartment you have, Starmark. They don't care. They just want to make sure that you have accommodations. And the reason why they want to make sure that you have a lease, one, the biggest reason is because they want to make sure you're serious. They don't want to go through all of the trouble and administrative expenses of getting you approved, of checking out your stuff and putting manpower on your application for you to come here 3 months be gone. Right. And then you're out. And so the reason why they have the visas, they want you to come here with your money and spend money. Right. And so it costs money to get you here. It costs their manpower, man hours, and everything else, right? And so they put these stumbling blocks because before they had them, they had a lot of people coming for a couple of months and going, "Oh my gosh, the bureaucracy! Oh my gosh, where's the USPS? And how come I can't get Pikes Peak Starbucks coffee and blah blah blah?" And then they would leave, and so they've put more hoops to make sure that you really want to move here. If I remember correctly, budget was approved and NHR extended to the end of 2024, but there are some conditions that apply. Thank you, Pinky. We will definitely talk to our Sandras. We had two Sandras at the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit. One is a tax person and one is an immigration attorney. And so we'll talk to both of them and see what are they telling their clients. These were immigration attorneys in Portugal. They couldn't give me an answer. You don't need to see them then. That's not the person for you. So we went to Gail from Relocate to Portugal, but I also suggest Sandra Gomes Pinto, who was one of the sponsors to the Move to Portugal Summit. Yeah, sorry, sweetheart. And both know their stuff. I think Sandra may be a little bit more creative. And I think Gail may be a little bit more by the book. So if you qualify, boom, 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 no matter what, go to Gail. She's probably less expensive because she doesn't have as much staff and she's not an attorney. If you may need some maneuvering, go to Sandra. I recommend both of them without reservation. All right. So we did it, y'all. We did it. That was the end of the questions. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. We love you.
Wow.
We love you. So, rules of the road. You want to create a budget and stick to it. Stay in the place where you choose to retire. Do not look at this as a prolonged vacation. Y'all, this ain't a vacation. Life shows up. You're going to have to pay bills. I have to pay our United States bills. We still maintain our healthcare coverage in the States, right? We've got properties in the States. All that stuff has to be done. Money has to be moved here and there. Also think about the exchange rate. Like right now, it's at 9%. This is the first time where it said 9% and my bank actually charged 9%. I had my feelings hurt. I'm glad I moved money under 5%, which was a week ago. So all these things you need to consider. But this can reduce your stress because now you know what to expect. So you don't have to be stressed out about your final retirement.
Right.
You can see how you're going to deal with fear, of boredom and inactivity. You can spend time figuring out what brings you joy. I want to hesitate on that. And then I'm going to let Rick take that one because that's you.
Oh, who your playmates are?
Yeah,
Figuring out who your playmates are?
He's got more playmates than I do.
Playdates. I like playdates.
Figure out who your playdates are. Figure out your new identity and purpose, if that's how you want to look at it. And then finally, as far as the soft stuff goes, you figure out where your relationship is. How strong is it? How resilient is it? And where those cracks are that need to be mended. So maybe you will come back from the trial retirement and do some counseling. And then as far as the hard stuff is concerned,
financial assessment, figuring it out.
Yep. Figure out your health and wellness and your mental health, your physical health, and how that's going to translate in your new location.
Yeah, definitely. Testing your retirement plan.
Seeing where the cracks are, seeing if the money you have planned is okay, making sure that everything that you want to do is actually what brings you joy, etc. So you can fine-tune your goals and tweak it as you see fit, right?
Identifying your potential issues.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I'm going to say this and then we're going to get off. So when we first retired, Rick and I got into a huge argument. And that was a test, because it was like that was after 2 or 3 months of spending nearly every single day together, all day for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. And that was a test to see if what we thought we had, we actually have. And obviously it turned out okay, because here we are. But it made us have to fine tune our communication skills. And that's a good thing, because now we're closer than ever, and we don't try to avoid talking about the stuff that we need to talk about. So it's all a good thing. And with that, you can't find the Ready to Retire handbook. So the Ready to Retire toolkit, the scouting trip list, some investment FAQs are all under free resources. It says other free resources, and then it'll give you a link to our website. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you will find that. We love y'all, and we will see you on Thursday.
So good to see you and be back again. We
yes. Like, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, why not? Subscribe, and we will see you on Thursday. Bye.